Lady Ada, what is this?
This is Show and Tell, and it's us, Lady Ada, Mr. Lady Ada, back. You're as your original host. Sometimes we have people.
The longest daylight of the year. Maybe we'll have the most.
It is still quite light.
Sharing of the year.
Sometimes we have special guest hosts, but today you're stuck with us again. This is the most fun you can have on the internet with your clothes on for the next 20-ish minutes. We're going to check in with people from around the maker community and the Adafruit community and see what they're up to. What are they soldering, 3D printing, exploring, dumpster diving, coding, and more. Any other notes? I guess people can come by. We're in StreamYard, but go to Discord if you want to come in.
Yeah, that's where we have
the link there.
The link to show up and more. Let's start off with Jepler, and then we'll go to Aaron after. So
okay, Jepler, kick it.
What's going on?
Hello. So this has turned into a real collab effort because Lamore led off with this is Teddy Ruxpin, by the way. Lamore led off with starting to figure out the audio formats based on, hi, I missed you. It's been so long since I've seen you. With figuring out the audio formats and how to encode samples. And JP investigated software for turning like an audio track into mouth movements. And he found a piece of software called Rhubarb that does it. And so I put together just a little quick demo of that. So this is custom audio running on Teddy Ruxpin, created by a Python script with mouth movements from Rhubarb.
Hi, Jepler here. Did you know my high school nickname was Big Bear? Well, that's embarrassing. But this video is to show off the advances we've had with converting audio files and creating mouth movements for Teddy Ruxpin. Bye.
And that's what I got.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
The code is not ready for prime time, but it's on GitHub. I'll drop a link to that in the Discord. And I hear that these are not very expensive to buy on eBay or whatever.
So Teddy Ruxpin and the ones that came out 2017, the shipping is more expensive than the Bear. I just sorted by price, and they're like $16, $20.
Yeah, I got mine for like $12.
Yeah, and the launch price was like $200 or so, and these are
that's just
I
like
couldn't afford it.
No, it was like $60, but it was like $200 if you want to buy it like new in box.
No, I'm saying when they launched.
Really, $200?
Yeah, they were expensive.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then the ones even before that, the 80s ones, the cassette tape ones, which are not hacking. So this is neat for robotics. It also gives you a chance to learn about puppetry. Yeah. And right before the show, I was talking about this. It's the beginning of Ada with our puppets, with like Adabot and Cricket. We've always wanted to have an Imagineer in a box. If you've ever visited Disneyland,
there's maybe watch AI.
There's David the teddy bear with that as well. Something about teddy bears and animatronics. I think it's a trick to get us to trust the AI.
Yeah.
Anyways, or make AI friends, make robot friends, not robot enemy. But they're really neat, and it's really hard to get all of these servos and everything working together. So you could just get one and just do the software side. You don't even need to modify them physically. But the other neat thing is you can go online and look at some guides that other people made like years ago when this first came out, and you could take the fur off and put any type of other stuffed animal, creature ideas. So for people who do companion bots, or we're going to make like Figment, the dragon one.
Yeah,
Disney.
Because it's just like the core is like, it's just like this. Yeah. There's a hard plastic part on the inside, but the legs and, the head is obviously some round head, but like, most stuffies are about this size. You might be able to gut it and put this in. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Anyway.
All right. Well,
so we'll be doing more with Teddy, but that's what's up right now.
Fun.
All right. Next, speaking of delightful and whimsical things, Aaron, what's going on this week?
Hello. I am sitting here under my fabulous jellyfish umbrella.
That's right.
I went to a music festival, and it was a thing. Like there was dozens of these here. This is a pretty popular design for a festival totem. So a lot of people had them on big, tall poles so that their friends could sort of find them in the crowd.
Yeah.
And this one's pretty fun. It is running WLED, so I can actually control it with my phone. I got some different playlists here, and all I have to do is like tap the playlist, and it will change colors. This is a really cool app. It's got all kinds. It's really easy to use. It's got color modes and palettes, and you can make playlists, and you can use different color animations. It's like 2 minutes to install. So I just launched a tutorial for this jellyfish umbrella, and having a ton of fun with it. I also put up a jellyfish installation, like a large-scale art installation. I made like 60 animated LED jellyfish that were all wired together, and put them up over one of the stages at this music festival. And when I walked underneath the swarm of jellyfish with my umbrella, it automatically synced up so that it was running the same animations as the swarm above the stage, which was incredibly cool. So I highly recommend, if you're into LED projects and you haven't checked out WLED, do it. This is running on a Pico W, and not that hard to build. So.
Well, the easiest way to try this WLED thing is to follow Erin's guide, which just got published. So check it out. She goes step by step on how to make a jellyfish and install WLED and use it. It's your new favorite thing. So, and LEDs.
I've been playing with them for a little while now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like the aquatic theme.
And we'll be showing the TikTok-y YouTube short along with the guide tonight, but also check out Erin's video that's on our YouTube channel as well for the full step-by-step. Good work. Beautiful project.
Okay, thanks, Erin.
Next up, we're going to go to JP, and then we'll go to Melissa, then Scott. So that's who's on deck. JP, what you got going on this week?
Hey, I got a lunchbox, and this thing is super, super cool.
Do you want to hold it up?
Yeah, let me hold it up. You can see right here. There you go. So it says animation Toolworks on it right there. And it's got some BNC connectors for video in and out. It's got some vent fan there. It's got another a fan there, and there's a AC plug input. So this is a weird lunchbox, and I saw this at an aerospace surplus shop that I was at, and I was like, I got to look inside this thing. What am I going to find? So if we go to the overhead, I can open it up and reveal the super cool contents of this thing, which is the video lunchbox.
This is cool.
So this thing was essentially a frame buffer that was used for stop motion animation or for 2D pencil tests, where you would have your video camera pointed at your scene or a down shooter on your animation, hand-drawn animation, and then an output going to a video monitor. And what this thing could do is it could store up to about 250 frames of animation. So you would go and capture a single frame. There's a little readout that tells you which frame you're on. And then it's displaying that frame. So you would then advance to the next frame while still doing a ghosting or an onion skinning of the last frame. So with stop motion, it's really helpful to see where you were on the last frame, as well as looping. So you could loop at 30 or 24 frames a second, depending on if you were essentially doing TV animation or film animation. And you could also shoot on twos just by taking 2 at a time if you weren't shooting full 24 frame, which is madness for stop motion. And this thing was pretty revolutionary, especially for either students, like education and animation, because previously what you would have used would be like a VCR or a camcorder and tried to record, pause real quick, move things, record, pause real quick, and the timing would be all over the place. So this was a real tool that was used both for education and in professional, sort of a video tap or a video assist for stop motion houses. They could use this to see that they liked what they were actually shooting off the film or actually shooting to a higher quality video source. I'm going to see if I can get this thing working, and I'm also going to, I think, use this as inspiration for making a modern day version of this using maybe a Raspberry Pi and some video capture, largely because I love the form factor. Because if I'm being honest, the version of this that exists today that's about 7,000 times better is your iPad. Get some stop motion software or your computer and drag and frame and a camera, and you've got amazing modern software for doing stop motion. But if you want to suffer and do it kind of the old school way with some really cool gear, this is a kind of amazing relic and blast from the past piece of hardware. I'd love to know who DAP was. It could be like animation production, could be someone's name, DreamWorks, I don't know. I do know some stop motion people who ended up working on 3D stuff over at Disney, so maybe that, but who knows. Also, last thing that I really love about this, I've never seen these before, they use some really clever hinges for this, which have a little squeeze clip. Let me close this for a second. A little squeeze clip that lets you remove the top just like that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
you didn't want to leave this hanging off the edge. You might be running out of space, and then you can put those back down. Those things are cool as heck. They're called Hartwell Corporation, made them in Placentia, California. So this thing's full of fun surprises. And the nice thing is I did get it up and running. Or I should say I got it booted up and powered on. There was no smoke. I opened it up and checked. All the caps look at least not bulging. It seems to possibly be operational. I got some video to display, but I think I might need to get some proper 75 ohm BNC cables to make the thing happy. Or it's got a problem that'll never be fixed because this company went out of business a long time ago, and these aren't. I don't think there's anyone around who knows how to fix them. But that's the video lunchbox. I thought that would be fun for people.
I mean, I think there is something interesting about. I've been thinking about, because you brought this on our creative meeting, and you were talking about it, and we're like, oh, could we make this Raspberry Pi? I do think, like, yes, an iPad's great, but I could see how, you could have a Raspberry Pi and you can connect, a Raspberry Pi camera to it, and then you could have HDMI coming in, and you could have, tactile buttons and like those new encoder knobs. There could be some interesting interface that you could do that wouldn't be possible. I mean, like, people talk about like screens in cars and how, modern cars, they have like one big touch screen, but it's like, it's so easy to get confused when it could be when you're doing stop motion, you want to have one hand on like a knob and the other hand tweaking a thing, and you're like, knob press as you're iterating through your scene. I don't know. I think that could be,
I believe it.
Could be useful.
Yep, I agree. I like tactile stuff.
Yeah.
I remember a million years ago, I don't know if we were both at Make at the same time, or maybe this was like Make Volume 1. It was possible to do stop motion with a Mac, and it was because the software was finally kind of ready, and it was like the downloadable version. You'd plug in a webcam, and then you would be able to have the onion skinning thing, and that was the thing that really helped out, because you could see the previous frame, and then you could see the next frame, and then you could make a little QuickTime movie.
Yeah.
Pretty low res.
Yeah, that was if you think about it, like if you've ever done like little sketchbook animations, you could just flip the pages.
Yeah,
and flip animators would understand the flow of what they were working on. That didn't exist for stop motion when you were doing it on like camcorders and stuff, unless you wanted to hit rewind and play and watch. It was super inconvenient. So a lot of it was either pre-planning or just straight ahead, and you hoped you got it right. So things like this helped elevate the craft.
This is cool. You might want to do either a blog post or get out a couple of photos of that on social media, because usually when we publish these things, someone comes out of the woodwork and like, oh yeah,
I worked for them. I have the schematics in my basement.
I'm Mr. Dap. That's my old lunchbox.
Yeah, I looked into it, and it was I think it was a 2-person company up in Oregon, and that was their company. I think Animation Toolworks. They did a few versions of this. Eventually, they did
good logo.
A DV version that could do DV qualady video, and there were a few iterations of it, but can you tilt it up and show the logo on the front? They did every little bit of this. They did a really good job on. When I saw this out of the corner of my eye, I thought I was seeing like a piece of a crew gift, like Cartoon Network crew gift.
Yeah.
That's at first what I thought. What is that thing? And then I went over. I was like, wait a second, what is this thing? So
yeah, this is really neat.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, JP. This was a combination
old school style
of retro.
How much was this? Was it like $10, $50?
I bought it for $25.
Worth it.
Totally. What I love asking people, because they're like, let me tell you, I got it for like
the going rate for
$20.
electronic lunchboxes and teddy bears on the show this week is about $20.
It's good.
Yeah, good time for $25.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much.
Great find, JP.
All right. Next up, we're going to go to Melissa, and then we're going to go to Scott. Melissa, what you got going on this week?
Well, I have been working on updating or going through all the Matrix Portal guides and updating it for using this Matrix Portal new product here. It has the ESP32S3. And one of the guides that I kind of updated last here is this Matrix Dreidel game. And what I had to do to update that is wire it up to this Max 98 357 and a speaker, because the ESP32 does not have the same audio output that the Matrix M4 did. It only has the I2S. And so I just kind of wanted to show this working here. So if I just kind of put my finger right here through here, you can hear it playing.
Nice.
So that is now working, and the guide has been updated. So,
all right, good work. And you 3D printed that base yourself?
Yes.
Good work.
Looks good.
Thanks for. I know one of the things is I was like, well, I want to update this hardware, but we have to go through all the guides. But you found a lot of bugs and you fixed them, and now we're ready to rock.
Yeah, most of them just worked without any changes, but there was a few.
Yeah, look how, I mean, like this is a good example of like, ooh, like an edge case.
Yes, exactly.
How to get an edge case. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Nice
Melissa.
work, Melissa.
All right, Scott, what you got going on this week?
Hello. A couple things. I thought I'd tease this. I had this idea of a mounting grid. So these are like 0.1 inch holes at a 0.2 inch pitch. And I think I showed this. I'm not sure. It's just like a prototype that I did. And then Jeff had the idea of doing like a swirl. And we kind of just like went for it.
Yeah.
Lamore went for it and ordered it in aluminum. So I've got this feather here mounted. It's with brass, so I haven't powered it up yet. You have to be aware of that, that you might want to insulate the board from the brass standoffs. But it's nice and rigid, which is awesome, and the brass standoffs are nice and sturdy as well. So I'm pretty excited about this, and my brain is still cooking on.
There's other patterns and more. You know, one thing that would be neat is let me just a little bit. If you go to any of the pegboard type stores, because that anything that you can put in slots and holes like IKEA and Home Depot, there's all sorts of stuff that also have other types of weird connectors that they have. You can put them on shelves. There's other permutations. I think you did this in KiCad, right?
Yeah, so I wrote a generator script that produces this pattern.
Cool.
Jeff had done it in OpenSCAD because he 3D printed it, but Lamore knew that JLC has aluminum PCBs, so I wrote a KiCad generator to do the same pattern that Jeff did.
We're going to include little rubber feet, by the way. We added that as an add-on for the product.
Yeah, we stock them for like 99,
so
or 50 cents. You can just
little
add
rubber
numbers.
feeking on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so
but I like this. It's like perfect. It's like making aluminum plates. I remember a long time ago I actually tried to get something like this made, but I was actually talking to an aluminum stamper, and it was just like the setup fee and the manufacturing. It was so expensive. They're going to be like $20 a sheet, and I was like, nobody's going to want this. But if you just make it as a PCB, it was only a couple dollars a piece.
Yeah, and so I was like debating what I should put on it, and you can see that it labels each of the grids so that like if you're writing a tutorial, you can say like put it in 0.5 or 2.5 or whatever.
Electronics by number.
Electronics by number, exactly. So I thought that would be handy too. So I'm very excited to see this and do more with it. And then the other thing I wanted to show, if you could pull up my window, thank you. So this is a serial output out of an IMX 1060. And what I've got is, that's debugging, that won't usually show up. But I've got one of these like dongle things for like a handheld keyboard. And so if I plug it in to the dev board, it will show me there. And now I can type on it into CircuitPython.
Oh, interesting.
So I've been thinking a lot about like how would you actually edit code kind of from a keyboard that's over USB. Although I was just thinking there's a number of stuff that we could actually share with BLE as well. So BLE hosts kind of would be another thing that we could add is automatically finding BLE keyboards would be cool too. So yeah, thinking about that for 9.0. And if folks have ideas or examples about how to switch between editing and running, I'd love to hear them because that's the world where we're getting to.
Yeah, another option is if you were making your interactions a multiple choice where you want to do 4 different things, and you could choose what you wanted to do. Do I want to light up an LED? Do I want to move a servo? That's another way, but it's always hard to figure out edit versus display.
Yeah, and we could do something with like different function keys to different things.
Yeah.
As well, but I was thinking something simple like escape just toggles you between editing and running, and then editing would be like it would run editor.py.
Yeah.
And then you could put whatever editor you wanted. Yeah, and so like you could have editor.py be whatever you want, and you just switch between that. You'd run editor.py and then you'd run code.py and switch between the two, and that would give you a lot of freedom to make the editor whatever you want. Of course, I think we would ship with the default one, but you'd be able to replace it. Like it'd be like the default files on CircuitPy.
All right. If folks want to toss some ideas your way or kick the tires on this, how would they do it?
Find me on Discord.
On Discord.
Discord.
There's a menagerie of single serving e-ink devices. People who just like to write, and they're like, I don't want internet connected. And they have different modes where it's like, I just want to see my screenplay, or I want to edit the screenplay. You should take a look at those. Maybe we could steal some good ideas.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then the other thing that I had, and we hit this a little bit when Dan and I were in New York, is the Pi 400.
Yeah.
Right. Like the Pi 400's got a built-in keyboard. It does HDMI out. We already support HDMI out. It's just getting the USB in, and we could have an all-in-one CircuitPython computer. And
I mean, the Lotus Notes was on a keyboard. You can do anything.
It's very much like trying to modernize that like single task 1980s 8-bit computer.
The Commodore 64, the Apple II, you could always dump into an editor and like write code that then you would run, and there was no windowing system. It was just one big disky operating system.
All right, this is cool.
CPM.
Yeah, so that's the challenge. How do we modernize it?
If you have ideas, or if you want to, with Jepler as one of the more recent projects, you can cobble together your own, Python computer too.
Yep, and thank you to Jeff, because this demo would not have been possible today if I hadn't borrowed a bunch of code from Jeff's CPM. He already had the convert HID USB reports into ASCII.
Very nice.
So thanks to
a
Jeff
good collaboration.
for giving me a boost there, and we'll refine that some more to do up arrows and stuff, which it doesn't quite do yet.
All right.
Well, USB host is very interesting. I mean, it unlocks a lot. There's a lot of hardware that's only available through USB, and one of the things that's fast. I remember we did in IMPI about a cellular modem that was a USB modem, and it shows up as a CDC port, but it's still it's cheaper to get a ready to go USB modem than a module. It's like the scale is so different. If you get it as a USB, and of course we can plug in a USB floppy drive.
Yeah, I was thinking of USB thumb drives.
Yeah,
because people I just want to log my data, and so
read or log data. It's a demo that we have for a USB host on the RP 2040, for sure.
Yeah, that's next as well. Most of what I'm doing here is built on Tiny USB, so anything that Tiny USB supports for USB host will hopefully just work.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Knock
thanks
on
very
wood.
much, Scott. And it was great seeing you. We got a chance to do a little mini Circuit Python convention here in New York. sort of.
Yeah, just seeing each other after 4 years of not seeing each other in person.
We're starting to see some of our remote team more often now, so it feels good. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it was good to travel. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll see you later, Scott.
Okay.
And that is our show for the week this week. Thank you, everybody. Almost Ask an Engineer time. We'll see everybody each week here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. Next week, Melissa will be hosting, and then I think we're back the week after, but we'll be doing show and tell forever. So you don't have to worry about.
You're stuck with us.
There's a couple of people in chat. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to show my chat. Maybe I'm going to show my my project this week. I didn't have time or whatever." Don't worry, we're here every week.
We're here every week.
Yeah, but it'll give you a good deadline. You're like, "Oh, if I get it done, I'll show."
But that said, you should still do it next week.
Yeah, nothing like a deadline to get a demo going. Okay, all right. We'll see everybody on Ask an Engineer in a few minutes. Bye bye.